didn't plant anything. They barely remembered falling asleep. But when they woke, the floorboards beneath their bed had softened into moss. And through the open window, vines curled inward like an invitation. At first, they thought it was a dream. But the scent of earth was real. The sound of wind through leaves was real. And the feeling in their chest, a kind of warm stillness, that was the realest thing of all. The hallway was blooming. Ivy ran up the walls. Petals drifted through the air. Some flowers looked like memories, others like feelings. One unfurled as they passed and whispered, "You rested. Thank you." They stepped into the living room, now a clearing. Furniture replaced by soft grass. A tree had grown through the ceiling, its branches cradling light. Beneath it, a journal lay open to a page they hadn't written. The journal said, "This grew from your stillness." And suddenly, they understood. This wasn't a garden they planted by action. It was one grown in sleep, in surrender, in letting go of doing, just for a while. They found a path, woven not by bricks, but by blooming footsteps, flowers growing exactly where they walked. The message was clear. Your presence alone can create beauty. A gentle breeze carried petals that hummed like lullabies, not in words, but in feeling. They sat beneath a willow and cried, not because they were sad, but because they felt held, without effort, without noise. In the garden, nothing asked for more. No task, no expectation. The vines didn't climb for applause. The blossoms didn't bloom on a deadline, and neither did they. They reached a pond with water still as breath. When they looked in, they didn't see their face. They saw how tired they'd been, and how beautiful that honesty was. A bench nearby held a note. You do not owe the world constant blooming. They sat, hand over heart, and repeated it until it rooted somewhere inside. They realized the garden had grown from everything they once thought unproductive pauses, naps, tears, silence. And it had grown not in spite of them, but because of them. Near the edge of the garden stood a gate. On it, no lock, just a ribbon tied loosely. It whispered, "You can return whenever you need. Beauty waits for those who rest." They didn't rush through. They stood one last time in the center of the garden and simply breathed. Each inhale, a bloom. Each exhale, a seed. They were part of the garden now, and it part of them. When they stepped back into their house, everything was as it had been, except their footsteps were softer, their breath slower. And every corner now held the scent of rest, remembered. And that night, as they drifted into sleep again, they whispered, "Grow gently." And somewhere, beneath the floorboards of their soul, the roots began to stretch once more.